Myself, H P Shukla, retired principal of SP College, Jamshedpur, is willing to share my feelings with you all about a biographical facts of William Shakespeare. In fact, this is a proverb. A man is known by the works that he does. Similarly, a period is recalled by few personalities who dedicate themselves or contribute themselves for that certain period. With these references, I would say morality, justice, sincerity, and also divine graces are the main factors behind any writers or any personalities or any historical facts. In response to these facts, William Shakespeare is a nice example who is well relevant to note that prosperity lies in poverty or scarcity. In this history of facts regarding the life of Shakespeare in English literature, this is noteworthy. The time of Renainssance, 1500 to 1650, will ever be recalled with rebirth of Greek, Roman, and classical texts that inspired the people of that time. William Shakespeare should be placed with honor as a prominent literary convener of that period that is known as the classical period or Elizabethan period. That denotes the classical philosophy as well as Greek, Latin literary, art and culture. It was Elizabethan period, 1558 to 1603, in the history of English literature. Within the Renaissance periods, Queen Elizabeth I and King James I ruled England for 45 years, from 1558 to the end of the life of Queen Elizabeth I, 1603. This is well known. Queen Elizabeth I was born on September 7, 1533 in Greenwich, London, and died in March 24, 1603 in Richmond, Surrey, that is also in London. Queen Elizabeth I enjoyed the life of 69 years and ruled England for 45 years. Thus, she became the queen at an early age of 24. This is noteworthy that her ruling period is considered the golden time in England, and this is also known as the Elizabethan period. William Shakespeare, who born during this period on April 23 in 1564, the Henley Street, Stratford-upon-Avon, the Warwickshire, London, in a half-timbered house, the old and tattered house that he was called the Bird of Avon. This is noteworthy that Shakespeare used to sing at early age of 6 to 7. Therefore, he was named the Bark. This is known to all. His father, John Shakespeare, was a glove maker, shoe maker or cobbler, who used generally white leather in making gloves or shoes. It reveals he was leading life of poverty along with the Hughes family. William Shakespeare was the eldest and raised three brothers, Gilbert, Richard, and Edmund, along with two younger sisters, Annie and John. So, a huge families along with John Shakespeare during the time, living with poverty and scarcities. That was the challenging accountability before Shakespeare's father, John Shakespeare. And this is also much more notable that going through that historical records, it is found that due to poverty, William Shakespeare couldn't get higher educations, and that's why his basic education started from King's Edward VI School, that was known as Grammar High School, situated at Stratford, at his native place. This is extremely remarkable that he married in November 1582 at the age of 18 with Anne Hathaway, who was 8 years elder to him. During the time of marriage, Anne, his wife, was 3 months pregnant. That was the type of marriage was called shotgun wedding. During the time of Elizabethan periods, these such marriages were generally accepted under the system of shotgun weddings. After 6 months of this marriage, Anne bore a girl child, Susanna. And later on, the twins, Judith, a girl, and Hamlet, son, were born. Unfortunately, Hamlet couldn't live long, and due to a mysterious situations, he died at the age of 11. The reason of his death is still a matter of discussions or a mystery. At the age of 21, Shakespeare left his native place and in 1585 he reached London for the sake of his livelihood. This is note, it was the second stage of his life. Now he started to continue acting apprenticeship in 1593 to 94, joined one of the best well-known theatre, Chamberlain's on London. This is to be known that Chamberlain's, that was basically a court theatre of Lord Chamberlain in the court of Queen Elizabeth. There were a number of actors, the number of players that used to play the practice of plays. After 6 years, in 1599, the troops in which actors and staffs, they earned huge money, and with the help and permission of Lord Chamberlain's, and the coordination of Queen Elizabeth I, a Globe Theatre was built there. Globe Theatre was the biggest theatre during the time. And the first theatre during the time was a black friars that served only on the oratory tools with focus of elocutions and speaking skills. Gradually, in the first decade of the 17th century, most probable in 1608, Shakespeare got name and fame in the fields of theatre, as well as formed a new ideas, creating the new words in literature of English. He invented new words, phrases, cold comforts, the blank verses, as well as using adverbs and adjectives from verbs, adding the prefix and suffix. That was his personal experimentation. And according to his personal skills or personal experimentations, he developed new ideas and got his name and fame with developing his personal genre. This is also known to all that during Elizabethan time, he examined how was the society of that time functioning and what was the mood of the people towards the societies and their relationships, as well as the feelings with the queens and the court culture. I would like to add few important facts that Shakespeare was such a man, such a personality who should be recalled, who should be honored as a man of letter. Because a man who hasn't got higher educations, how could he become a man of letters? How could he get the name and fame in the field of literature? He started to compose plays and poems and other experimentations at the very early stage of 24, and he wrote 38 plays with the collaboration of his literary friends, the writers. Actually, this is not well known, but on the historical and chronological basis, it can be accepted or expected that he started to compose plays in 1592. This is also considered that Taming of the Shrew and King Henry VI Part 2, that was his the first play. But on this matter, there are different ideas, the different opinions of the different historical figures. However, at a very early stage, he wrote 3 types of plays: comedies, tragedies, and historical, into 4 different stages or periods. The best plays which were composed or published in these 4 stages, the first stage that was 1592 to 1595. It was the time of his love and imagination. And he wrote the plays like The Comedy of Errors, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Romeo and Juliet, Richard II and Richard III. In the second stage from 1595 to 1601, that was the time of his progress in dramatic art, and he composed As You Like It, The Merchant of Venice, Henry IV and Henry V. The third stage was 1601 to 1608. That was virtually the tragic life period. And during this time, he composed the best tragic plays: Hamlet, Julius Caesar, Othello, Macbeth, and King Lear. And the last stage, that was started from 1608 to his last breath of life, 1616. And during this period, he wrote The Winter's Tales and The Tempest. That was the last play of his life, The Tempest. Thus, this is the short historical background of William Shakespeare's life. In brief, I would say his contribution in the field of English plays are still relevant today, because going through his historical facts and his compositions, I come on this conclusion, and accordingly I would say that his plays deal with reality, universal themes of life. He believed in these ideologies, to be or not to be. His characters are even more impressive and inspiring. And at last, I would say, even today he teaches us the lessons of equality, diversity, humanity, along with hospitality. Thanks everyone, and I would further like to share a few important facts on Shakespeare's compositions, his plays and poems. Everyone knows Shakespeare is known as the father of dramas, but very few people know that Shakespeare was the best poet. Further, in the next episode, I would like to share my feelings that Shakespeare was the best poet, not only the dramatist. So thank you very much again. That's all.